All right, so I think everything is up and running, and I hopefully you can see me well and can see my screen as well, and my voice is not breaking up as I'm actually working from home and connection is pretty unstable. So I hope you don't mind me turning off my video as we go along with the session today. So again, okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to your instructor's workflow training for Turnitin Feedback Studio in direct website access. My name is Nina, and I'm from the Professional and Education Services team from Turnitin Philippines. Okay, for starters, please note that all audience members are muted by default for the main presentation. And well, if you have any questions or any clarifications about the session and then the workflow itself, you can just key in your questions in our Q&A panel that you can find in the Zoom interface. And I will do my best to answer the questions as soon as I can. All right. So please note that the session is also recorded, and I'll be providing the copy of the recording of this training in my follow-up email after our session today. All right. Well, okay, we got a lot of things in our agenda for today's session. So I'll be talking about the product of the institution, okay, for University of Makati, which is Feedback Studio. I'll be discussing user roles in Feedback Studio and even why do we have to use Feedback Studio. I will also discuss how the similarity report works and the file requirements for you to generate any similarity report. And also, we will log in to www.turnitin.com, and then I'll be showing you the workflow of the instructor, which is to add a class, enroll students in the classes, create an assignment, and adjust your assignment setting. I will be talking about how to navigate the similarity report as well, as I discuss on how to interpret similarity report, make use of the grade mark, as well as the ETS e-rater. And to wrap everything up, we will have the getting help guides. Okay, so we got, as mentioned, we got quite a lot of things in our agenda for today, and I guess we can start. All right. So the product of University of Makati is Feedback Studio. So Feedback Studio is an originality checking and plagiarism prevention tool. Feedback Studio checks students' writing for citation mistakes as well as inappropriate copying. So what happens is that when you are submitting your work or even your students' work, we are checking it against the 3 standard databases that we have in Turnitin. And I will be talking about those content databases as we go along with the session. Next, Feedback Studio does have 3 main components. We do have the similarity report, which is the report generated when you start submitting the papers. And this one indicates those similarity matches that we can find in your students' work, as well as the content that can be found in our databases. Next to that is the grade mark, which is grade mark is actually the feedback and grading tools for instructors, and then the ETS e-rater, which is the automatic spelling and grammar checker. In Feedback Studio, we do have 3 user roles. So the first one is the administrator. So I believe that our administrator for the institution is Sir Florante E. de los Santos, and also being assisted by Sir Mark Vincent Valerio. So if in case that you have any questions about your account, about the product itself, you may reach out to your Turnitin administrators for that matter. Administrator is also the person who are integrating with the LMSs, and also definitely if you need an account, they will be the one to add you, okay, in the institution's Feedback Studio account. And also, okay, the administrator can access the usage statistics. So definitely it has got to do with the reporting of the usage and licenses. Well, okay, our focus for today is basically the instructor's workflow. So instructor is our term to cover all the teachers, faculty members. Well, okay, basically our faculty members are our teachers, and well, even the non-faculty members who must generate similarity report. It's really important for them to be the one to generate these workflows. So we have to create a class, add students in those classes, and then create assignments. It's very important workflow for the instructors because you have to do this first before you can generate similarity report. And once we have our assignments, now our students just really have to submit the papers to the assignments that you have just created. We also have an optional workflow for your student, and that is they can self-join your classes, or like they will be the one to enroll in your classes. Well, this is something that your administrator or even your academic heads needs to check first if this will be allowed for instructor to do. Okay, like it really depends on your usage guidelines if you are allowed to let your students enroll in your own classes. Next thing that I'm actually showing is the content databases that we have in Turnitin. So as you can see here, like when I'm talking about content databases or even repository options, I'm talking about these three standard databases that we have in Turnitin. So what happens is when you are submitting your students' papers, we are checking it automatically in these three databases. So the first one is the student paper database. So, well, we are comparing against this database just to make sure that the students, okay, within the same class or students attending the same class at different times are not copying from each other. Definitely, we will be able to discourage improper collaboration and prevent student collusion. So, well, for example, we have students who are who brothers or sister will be attending the same class in a different year. Okay, what they do is they will just recycle their paper provided to another student, and then that's it. So definitely, if your student has done that and that specific paper is already in our databases, we can surely find similarity collusion or paper collusion. Here we have 1.4 billion student papers, and there's a high chance that the system will detect if your students' papers are colluding with each other. Next to that is we have the Internet Archive Repository. So, well, this will surely prevent copy-paste culture because we are comparing against this database just to make sure that students are not just copying and pasting from one website to another without proper citation to the author or the sources. As of now, we have more than 91 billion current and archive web pages in this database alone. Last but not the least is the scholarly publication. So, well, this is all about avoiding academic and research misconduct. So we are comparing against this database just to make sure that our students are not taking work from scholarly articles or from the journals, claiming that it is their own work. So we currently have more than 170 million journals and publication in this database. Okay, so again, there you have it, the standard content databases that we have in Turnitin. Now, for you to be able to generate a similarity report, the files that you are supposed to be uploading are in these file types. So we are supporting the Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel, Adobe PDF, Adobe PostScript, OpenOffice Text, Corel Word Perfect, Google Docs, Slides and Sheets, and also HTML file, plain text, rich text format, and even in Hangul. Okay, so well, if in case your students are somehow using Apple Pages, all they have to do is to export those paper to PDF, submit it to the system, and surely similarity report will be generated right after. Well, the file uploaded must also have password protection turned off. It should contain more than 20 words, be less than 800 pages in length, and be less than 100 megabytes in size. So yes, okay, these are the file requirements for us to generate similarity reports. Now, as mentioned earlier, okay, for University of Makati, we will be focusing on their REC website access. So what I'm gonna do is go straight to www.turnitin.com. Okay, so this is what I mean when it is their REC website access. So, well, if you don't have your login details with you, please reach out to your Turnitin administrators so they can provide you information about that. Okay, I just got a question coming from Sir Domingo Junior Balse. Can we possibly sync or embed Turnitin to our TBL accounts? In other universities like PNU, once the students submit a paper in the LMS, it will automatically be checked by Turnitin. Okay, very good question, sir. So, well, just like PNU, okay, they are actually integrated with a specific LMS. So it can be Moodle or Canvas. However, yes, it's possible for us to do the integration if you are using a Canvas account or a Moodle account. However, it really depends on the preference of your Turnitin administrator and the licenses that you have within your institution. So for this matter, okay, as mentioned, okay, yes, you can integrate, but you really have to reach out to your academic heads or the Turnitin administrator definitely if we will be deciding to integrate. But for now, our focus would be on the direct website access. Thank you so much, Sir Domingo. Okay, now I will be logging into this account. Okay, I will go straight to like clicking on log in to the upper right hand side of the screen. And there you go. Okay, so well, I'm actually using, by default, my account is in administrator. So I will switch to instructor account. And there you go. Okay, focusing on the black menu bars in the upper right hand side of the screen, we have the username and user info in here. So definitely, okay, so if you would want to change anything or like your basic information, okay, with your account, you can just surely click on this tab and you'll go straight to the editing profile information. Next to that is the messages. So basically, the messages will show you announcements and messages coming from our team. So coming from Turnitin. Okay, so basically, like if I will click on this one, this is what you will be seeing. So there you go. Next to that is the user tab. The user tab for instructors actually has the student tab as well. So, well, you can have the student tab, but it does not mean that you can access your students' accounts straight away. The student tab can only be relevant if you have a student account yourself. So definitely, I'm pretty sure that you will not, you won't be adding yourself as a student. So we can just stick to instructor as we interact with the tool. Next to that is we can find the language, which I don't think that you will also be changing anytime soon. And then we have the community. So as for the community, when I click on that, okay, it will direct you or us to Turnitin Educator Network. This is where you can find a lot of information about Turnitin, including the articles and blogs, news and announcements, and even the public events that we are hosting. Those are the webinars that we are hosting to a lot of customers or to our customers. Also, you can join discussions if in case that you would want to learn some best practices of Turnitin across the globe. Okay, now I'll just go back to the website and then we have the help icon. So when I click on help icon, it will direct you to the Feedback Studio Direct Help website. Here you will be asked first the product of the institution, I mean the access. So again, for University of Makati, we have to click on Turnitin website. And then you have to identify your role. Okay, just, okay, I think it's because of my connection, that's why it's loading slow. Well, here you have to identify your role. So let's click on instructor and there you go. Everything that you need to know about your workflow or any information about Feedback Studio is actually up in here. Instructor Quick Start Guide and Instructor Resources page can also be found. Questions about like creating a class or setting up an assignment or even discussion about similarity report can also be found in here. If in case that you don't want to log into your account to access help guide, that's possible, okay? Simply go straight to help.turnitin.com. Here you go. and then identify the institution's product. So for your institution, our product is Feedback Studio. And then your access, Turnitin website, role, instructor, and there you have it. Going back to the website, next we have the logout, which I don't think that I'll be clicking anytime soon. And then now I'll just go back to the homepage. Okay, so since I'm using a training account, you may be seeing quite a lot of institutions in here, but you don't have to worry about that, or don't mind all of these institutions for the time being, because I will only be focusing on Turnitin Academy of the Philippines. Okay, so there you go. You can see all the classes that I have created, and what I'm gonna do is to go straight in creating a class by clicking this add class button. Okay, so for the rec website, if you click on add class, you will go straight to this page wherein you really identify all of these key information. First one is class type. As for the class type, we have two options. Standard means it is a standalone class. It is the standard class that we have in the Philippines, like a teacher, like one teacher with students in it. So it can be 2 or or 5 or 10, 20, 50, depending on the structure that you may have within your institution. There's another option, which is the master class. But then again, master class means that the class has a master teacher with section classes being handled by teaching assistants. Well, since I'm pretty sure that in our institution, we are using standard class. So this will be the focus for now. And then next to that is provide a class name. Naming convention is really up to the instructor. So you don't have to worry about it at all. I just recommend for instructors to provide as much as information as you will be needing so that you can identify your classes easily. So I will be using a code. Okay, let's say UMAC. Okay, and then turn it in. And then the section, year and section of my students, and then even the subject and semester if you want to, and the year. There you go. So I'm really providing a lot of information, so at least I can easily identify my class. Next is enrollment key. So enrollment key is basically more of like a passcode or a password in your class. So it can be anything, like at least 4 alphanumeric characters. So I will be using ABC 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, it's really up to you as an instructor. You can surely use the same enrollment key for every single subject, every single class if you want to, and that's totally okay. Another thing to note is that the enrollment key should not be shared publicly outside your institution, because with a class ID and this enrollment key, anybody can join your classes without you knowing it, and you might not have a control like if they would want to enroll in your classes or not. So there you go. So make sure that you are not sharing it with anybody else that is outside the institution. Subject areas and student levels. These are actually two different information that will not totally affect how your class works. So you don't have to worry about this, but somehow it's a required field. So you can just simply select the subject. If in case your subject isn't here, that's totally okay. You can simply click on other. And for student level, I will be clicking on graduate. So, well, your student won't be able to see this one, these two information. So again, you really don't have to worry about that. Class start date is automatically generated. And the class end date, this should reflect the date that your student will be ending or will be finishing in this specific class. Well, as you can see, I'm creating a class, and shortly I will be enrolling students in this class. And I have to make sure that those students that I will be enrolling will end in this date. Okay, well, if somehow you are unsure as to, you can really somehow cannot identify when would the exact time that the class will end, that's okay. I understand that, especially these days, that there are there are some things that are happening that is out of our control. So the class can be shortened, or the class will be or needs to be extended. That's okay because this can be edited by the instructor anytime. So for now, my class end date would be on December 13, 2022. And when you're all good, click on submit. There you go. Once that you have generated your class, you will have this confirmation that your class has been created, and it automatically provide you the class ID and then the enrollment key. These are the two information that your student will be needing for them to be able to join or enroll themselves in your class. If by chance you forgot about this information, you don't have to worry because it's all up in here. So as you can see, I have it here, UMAC Turnitin 4-1 English Semester 2 2021. The class ID is in here, and then you can see the end date. Okay, if you want to change this one or even simply want to see the enrollment key, click on this cog icon here. And there you go. So this is the enrollment key. And now I want to change my class end date to, let's say, March 16 instead. Okay. So there you go. Now, we have changed those information already, okay, with this specific class. Now, the next thing that I'll be showing is like how your students will be able to join or enroll themselves in your classes. This can be very handy for instructor because it will be your students who will be enrolling themselves in the class. So I will just go straight to students. And then, okay, I will be seeing the enroll in a class. And then I have to provide the class ID and enrollment key that my instructor gave to me. If I click on submit, okay, right now I'm talking as a student. When I click on submit, I am already in my instructor's class. Okay, yeah, okay, we can say that, yeah, it's a very easy one. So at least an instructor doesn't really have to add or enroll their students in the class. But there is a downside about this. Okay, the downside of your students enrolling in your classes is that sometimes students will not enroll themselves or will not join in a class up until the assignment due date. We've experienced some teachers who are sharing their thoughts about this one, that the student kept on giving excuses, like the student is telling that I forgot the class section ID, I forgot the enrollment key, I didn't know I had to enroll myself, and that's why they are missing deadlines. And also, as also mentioned earlier, other people outside your institution might join in your classes without you knowing it, for as long as they got this two information to enroll themselves in your class. Let's say, for example, by chance that you're providing this information to the rest of your classes, and maybe one of those students accidentally, okay, unintentionally provided this information to somebody. If that would be the case, then that person who got these two information will be able to enroll themselves in your class and can start doing submissions, and you cannot really control over that. So all you have to do is to drop that student. However, it still will affect the institution's licenses. So to avoid the problem, I am recommending the instructor to be the one to enroll the student to the class themselves. That way, you will not have any excuses coming from the student about missing deadlines because they haven't enrolled. And also, you don't have to give any of these information to anybody. So that's how easy it would be. Okay, like we are just preventing some concerns about that could happen in your account. So what I'm gonna do is go straight or go back to my instructor's account. And then let me go to this class and then click on student tab. Okay, that is just beside the assignment tab inside the class, and there you go. There are two ways to add student. Click on add student if you are talking about adding one student at a time. But if we are adding more than one student, let's say 5, or depending on our class structure, so it can be 20 students or 50, I recommend to upload student list instead. Click on upload students list, and then click on this more information link. And you can surely upload a plain text file or an Excel file with only this information. So we have the first name, last name, and email address. And then click on choose file. And let me just upload a sample student list. Click on upload list and you're good. So these are the students that I'm adding. And then when I click on yes, submit, these students are automatically enrolled in my class. And also it's automatic that Turnitin will send them an email so that they can start setting up their account. If they do have an account already, they will just get an email informing them that they have been enrolled in a certain class by a specific instructor. Let me click on return to student now. And well, I do have 4 students in this class that I just created. You can find the enrolled date, student's name, user ID, email address, and the drop icon. So you will notice that in the enrolled date, they do have this pink highlights. The pink highlight means that the student was not able to set up their account, meaning to say that they were not able to access the email sent by Turnitin. And you really have to nudge them, or you really have to advise your student to access the email from Turnitin, set up their account, provide the password. And once they have done that, this pink highlight will not be highlighted anymore, or it will all be gone. What you can just see is the plain date of your students' enrollment. Well, if your student still hasn't received any welcome email, and even if they're check their spam folder, they are not really receiving it, that's okay. Simply click on this highlight. There you go. And then fix the email of your student and then click on submit. All right, so as you can see in here, when you do that, we will be resending a welcome email to your students so that they can set up their account right away. Okay, another thing to note is the drop icon. Okay, what does it do? Okay, when you want to drop or delete a student permanently in your account, you can do so by clicking on this drop icon. The drop students won't be able to add themselves up even if they have the class ID and then the enrollment key that you have provided. Now, what about I accidentally drop a student? Okay. What you can do is you can add that student once again under the same email address. They must be added under the same email address so that they can still have an access to their previous submission. Because if in case that you are adding the student once again under another email address, it's as good as if you are adding a new student in the class. Okay. So there you go for adding student. Now we have the email all student in here, but it's basically like you're sending an email to the students that you have just enrolled. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that you will be rarely using this one, as most of us already have established communication channels with our students, so you don't really have to worry about this. Now I'll just go back to the class, and the next thing that I'm gonna do is to add an assignment. To add an assignment, click on this big green tab in the right-hand side, and you'll go straight to this page. So there you go. So you have to fill in all of the fields that you can see in here before submitting a paper. First one is assignment title. So the naming convention for assignment title is really up to you. So I can just simply name mine as final term paper. Okay, this is just a sample. And then we have the point value. Actually, the point value is the maximum score of a specific assignment. Well, it's optional because it really depends if you would want to provide grades or point value with a specific student submission. So I can just identify 100 or anything. And then we have two options in here. The first one is allow only file types that Turnitin can check for similarity. Make sure you are checking this one because if you check on the second one, which is allow any file types, you're allowing your student to submit video and audio files. Okay. The downside of that is that they cannot, or the student won't be able to generate similarity report for video and audio file types. So if our intention is basically more on generating similarity report, I'm recommending to select the first. And then, okay, we have the start date and the opposite of that, okay? The date that your student can start submitting papers. And then due date, the last date that they can submit. The post date is the date when your student can access the grades, the feedbacks that you have provided to your students. Now, when we're all good, okay, also another thing is that you can also find those question mark or blue question mark. It will I'm recommending for you to hover on top of it so that you will be guided as you create your students' assignments. So maybe you would want to be reminded about what the option to select or what that feature is all about. So definitely you can do so. Another one, okay, is click on optional setting because we are not done yet. Then you can provide a special instruction, allow submissions after the due date. So we can click on yes if we want our students to submit the work even after the due date has passed. The the submission dates will just be in red. However, if you don't want that, you can just select no, and your students won't be able to submit any work, especially after the due date has passed. But me, I will click on yes. And then generate similarity report for submission. Make sure you are clicking on yes, so that, because it's one of the reason why we have this. So if you would want to really generate similarity report, make sure yes. And then the next is generation speed. Okay, so as an instructor, you can design when can your student be able to generate their similarity report upon submission. We do have three options in here. So let me talk about the last one first. On due date means all the similarity reports will be generated at the same time, and that will be on the due date that you have identified. Yes, the student can do resubmissions, but they will not be able to see the score because it will only be generated on the due date. If you think that is not the right option for your institution, you can then choose immediately. That's the second one. Immediately can overwrite reports until the due date. Okay, this one means that you are allowing resubmissions. And when you say that, okay, when we mean allowing resubmissions, every time that the student will resubmit their report, the similarity report will be generated immediately. Well, this is actually a recommended setting. Okay, this is what I am recommending if you want your student to check the similarity score themselves, and then by chance that you want them to fix it up. For example, the students submit the paper and then they notice that they forgot to cite properly, or the paraphrasing is not right, or they have to correct a spelling or any other information, so that they can fix it up and then submit their paper once again. The first paper will not won't collude actually, so it will just overwrite. I mean, the current paper that has been submitted will just override the previous one, so you don't have to worry about paper collusion in here. However, okay, another thing to note here is that If by chance your student did, or like after the third resubmission of your student, the next similarity report actually will be generated not immediately anymore, but after 24 hours. Okay, why is that so? There are actually some cases wherein we notice that some students are trying to take advantage of the system as they try to manipulate their scores. So they are just submitting their paper and then go back to writing and maybe try to do something because they are targeting a specific similarity score. So that's why after the third resubmission, the student will have the similarity report generated after 24 hours. Well, this is still a good option, especially I'm pretty sure that you know your students better than anybody else. And if you really think that your student just really wanted to correct themselves and then before any final submission, then this will be the right option for you. Well, if you don't think that this one is the right option somehow, you can then choose the one left. Okay, the last one left, that is immediately. First report is final, meaning to say that your student can only submit once and similarity report will be generated immediately. Okay. Now, as for me, I will be, okay, for the time being, okay, let me just choose the one in the middle. Oops. And then next to that are the exclusion of content from the similarity report. As an instructor, you can actually exclude content in the overall similarity setting. So as you can see in here, we can exclude bibliographic material, quoted materials, and small sources. Well, this only means that you are automatically excluding them from the overall assignment, overall assignment setting. So it means to say that if I will exclude the bibliographic material, I click on yes. Every bibliography content or portion of every student who will be submitting in this assignment will have their bibliography not included in the similarity report. Well, what I'm actually recommending is leave the exclusion turned off. So make sure that it is no. So at least your student, or I mean, you can check or like you can see these content in the similarity report by default. That way, you can check or ensure if your students are doing their papers correctly. And if they have done it properly, like the bibliographic materials or coded materials, you can do the exclusion of that after checking. Okay, there you go. Now, I have another question coming from Sir Domingo Balse Jr. So the question is, may I know the exclusion setting for UMAC? Okay. Actually, sir, the exclusion setting is really depending on the preference of the instructor. So we believe that you know your classes, you know your assignments better than anybody else. So if in case that you think that in a specific assignment, quoted materials are not really relevant in the overall similarity score, you can do the exclusion straight away. So you can just simply click on yes. But well, on my side, this is not really recommended, or internet inside, this is not recommended. Yes, okay, that is, okay, I just got a follow-up question. So there is no institutional standard setting. Actually, yes. Okay, it really depends on the preference of the instructor because it is something that I will also be discussing shortly. There are downsides of the settings, okay, if you will be selecting yes. Like if you will automatically exclude those information straight away in the assignment setting. Okay, and I will be discussing that one shortly. Thank you. Okay, now next, that is for the exclusion of those content. And then we have to choose this one, allow students to see similarity report. Let's say, yes, it's really good for formative setting. Okay, so at least your student will be able to understand the similarity report or the similarity percentage that they are getting. No, maybe by chance that you wouldn't want your student to see the similarity report for the time being up until the final submission. Okay, Another thing to note here is this the repository option. So you may be given by the administrator two choices in here. The first one is the similarity report. Okay, I mean the standard paper repository option. By choosing this one means that your the papers that are to be submitted in here will automatically be stored in the standard paper repository of the Turnitin. Meaning to say that these papers in this assignment will be available for future similarity comparison. Well, we also think that there are some chances that the instructor may think that some papers are not supposed to be stored in the database. That's why you have another option, which is no repository. By choosing no repository option means that you will not be storing any submission in Turnitin's databases. However, those papers that are not to be stored will still be processed to perform the similarity check. So you can surely see yung mga similarity report na ma-generate natin for this. However, if our students will provide their papers to other people, to their classmates, to their friends, to their siblings, or even to any other institution, we won't be able to find any collusion. There is no way for us to see any collusion since it's not in our databases. So it's really up to the instructor whether you want to store the work or not. Maybe this is also something that I could suggest. Maybe you have your drafts and those drafts are not expected to be in the repository, so it will not collude to the final submission. You can then choose no repository for this specific assignment for that matter. It's really up to the instructor. Now I'll be choosing standard paper repository option because as for this specific assignment, as an instructor, I want to see if the papers are colluding in any submission in this assignment. And then we have the search option. So as you will notice, okay, these are the databases that we have in Turnitin. And by default, everything is selected. So it really depends on the institution's repository option. So institutional paper repository is non-standard, and this must be purchased by the institution for them or for you to have one. Okay, but it's automatic that you will have the student paper repository, current and archive internet, and periodicals, journals, and publication. You can choose not to include internet, for example, but it means that any paper that are to be submitted in this assignment will not be compared in any internet databases that we have. Okay, it's really up to you, but what we are recommending is select everything so that you can have a better similarity comparison. Okay. Next is you can surely attach a rubric or any grading forms in a specific assignment. So select this or click on this drop-down arrow and select the rubric set that you think is the best fit, okay, for your assignment. So I just chose AP History LEQ. And if by chance that you would want to create your own rubric or grading form, or even upload your own form, simply click on the link. Okay, and you will be guided accordingly on how to do so. I will be sending helpful guides as well as on how to manage the rubric in every assignments that you have. Another thing is the ETS e-rater. Make sure that you're clicking on yes, okay, because when you click on no, okay, definitely you cannot make use of the ETS e-rater component, okay, of Feedback Studio. So when I click on yes, you have to identify your handbook. I recommend advanced, and then dictionary, and then the categories that you want ETS e-rater to check. The last is to save these options as your default for future assignments. So at least you don't have to go over again those settings manually next time. So well, that is really best. Okay, if you don't want to really check on the settings one by one. When you're all good, click on submit. Okay, so there you go. So well, we just created an assignment. Okay, so we are already complete with the workflow. We have a class, we have one assignment, and we have 4 students that are enrolled in this class. To view a class, to view submission, click on view. In the more action, you can find the edit setting of the assignment, submit on behalf of your student, and delete the assignment if you think it is not relevant at all. Okay, next thing is, let me just go straight to a class with an assignment with submission. So I will just go back to the homepage and okay. So there we go. So I am in my account, Turnitin Academy of the Philippines, and I'll be clicking on this class, which is TII History Semester 1, 2020. So click on that, and there you go. Here I do have 2 assignments, as you can see. One assignment is a history paper, and the second one is final research. Now, for me to view submissions, all I have to do is to click on view in the action, and you can see all the submissions made by my students. Okay, by my dummy students. I do have the student's name. Okay, and then we also have the submission title. There you go. And then we have the similarity. Okay. So there you go. Similarity score of their students, and then the grade. And then the response is actually where you can see if your student has viewed the paper or your feedback to their work. Okay, so as you can see, I have the icon in here, means that my student was able to view this assignment already. And then we also have the paper ID. Okay, paper ID is very important if in case that your student or you need to reach out to our support team or to your Turnitin admin because of some submission concern or submission issue. At least, okay, if you have this with you, the support team can find your paper easily and then they can help you quickly. We have the date in here. What I'm actually gonna do as well is I will reshare this one because I have to adjust some similarity report for the time being for this specific session. So let me just quickly do something in here. Okay, hold on for a second. And okay. So let me just know if you have any questions about our discussion, okay, or about similarity report as we go along. Okay, I will just refresh this and let me share it again. Okay. There you have it.
Hi, Miss Nina.
Oh, yes.
I sent you direct message po.
Okay, sure. Hold on for a second.
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay, sure. Okay, so there you go. Okay. Thank you so much for the heads up, Sir Mark. Okay, when you have created your assignment, or I mean, you have created your assignment in a specific class, okay, I was told that it will not be the student who will be submitting, but it will be the instructor who are submitting on behalf of the student. Well, it can easily be done by clicking on submit file in the left-hand side of the screen. And then you can surely go straight to this page wherein you can see the single file upload. Let me just make this one smaller. Okay, single file upload, or you actually have do multiple choices in here. So if you would want to multiple file upload, okay, this works if you are submitting multiple works of a student, which is recommended if you are submitting like 5 to 10 or more works. Okay, it's actually pretty much easy. So you have to, all you have to do is to choose file and then attach a certain file. Okay, this is just a sample. Okay, here we go. And then choose file once again. Or in a specific portion of your like document somehow, okay, you can select like 2 to 3 files. I actually don't have enough files up in here. So let me just try to check that one out. Okay, And you really just have to identify if the student is a non-enrolled student, or they are the students that you have just added, the first name, last name, and first name of the student, and the title. The title of the submissions that I'm doing, because this is basically a dummy submission. So that is for multiple file upload. Well, basically the single file upload is very easy, because you just really have to identify if the student that you are, or the paper that you are uploading is attributed to a non-enrolled student or to the enrolled students that we have. Okay, and then there you go. You will also have the note that the file you are submitting will not be added to the repository, because it really depends on the assignment setting. Okay. You can also submit through like from your computer in a Dropbox or in a Google Drive. It really depends on your preference. Another thing to note, okay, in submitting, okay, it can be a cut and paste upload. Well, it is basically work if you are finding some content in a specific submission that you just want to check similarity with. It's like not the whole document itself. Or the file is somehow or by chance not in a supported file that we have. So you can do the cut and paste. Though, well, cut and paste is rarely being chosen by a lot of our instructors for the reason that it is not formatted. So it's basically like you are just cutting the content and putting it straight away in the Feedback Studio interface. So it's basically like that. Also, zip file upload also works if maybe you are talking about more than like, let's say, maximum of 1,000 papers. Okay, and you also have the requirements in here. So if in case that you need more guidance as to what could possibly be um, the requirements for you to be able to generate one, you can find those requirements up in here as well. Okay, so there you go. So basically that's about it in uploading files. Now, once you have uploaded the file, okay, in a specific assignment, you will then be able to see all of those submitted files in here, or submitted works in here, and it can be attributed to the student or not. You will notice that I do have some students actually that does not have this check mark icon as well, because it simply means that the student is a non-enrolled one. Okay, and another thing, okay, for you to be able to check a similarity report, all you have to do, okay, is to go straight to the document. So what I'm going to access is the coronavirus in the Philippines and click on the similarity. Okay, so well, okay, if you have questions about submitting files, just let me know in the Q&A panel. Okay, now I just clicked on the similarity percentage, and I'll be sharing this one to you. Now, hold on for a second. I'm pretty sure that some of you or a lot of us are familiar with how the similarity report will look like. And well, yeah, this one is a similarity report. So this is a sample paper that I've done just to show, okay, everybody how the similarity report will look like once they are submitting any papers in Feedback Studio. Let me see. Okay. So in the upper portion of the similarity or the Turnitin document viewer, we can see the name of the student as well as the title of their submission. Okay. Now, the next one is we have this, okay, the grading, okay, if you are providing your student grades. And then also we do have this, the toggle wherein actually it's a drop down bar wherein you can switch in between student submissions. So if you would want to check on another paper of the student, so you don't really have to go back to the assignment inbox. You can just simply go straight to this portion in here and just move from one submission to another. We can also find the help icon in the upper right hand side of the screen, and when you click on that, It is an easy access to all our popular articles in the help website, like interpreting similarity report, viewing similarity report, and so on. In the left-hand side, you can find the navigation toggle. So this is very helpful if we're talking about multiple pages in one submission. Down to the bottom, you can find the number of pages, word count. Opposite to that, you can see the text-only report, high resolution toggle, and you can zoom the paper in and out. Okay, so well, the next portion is the toolbars that we can find in our students or in the document viewer. First icon here is the active layer. So we have the grading. Grading are all in blue. These are the grade marks. Similarity tools are in red. Erater is actually in purple. So we will just revisit all of these question mark as we go along. So we will revisit this one when we are ready to download the full report. So let me just hide this side panel, and then we can go straight in checking the tools that we have in here. Okay, well, before anything else, I would like to talk about the flags. Okay, so this is something that I recommend for everybody to check first, or for the faculty or even all research coordinator to check first, especially if you're finding number just above the similarity score. That is the number 2 here with a flag. When I click on that, okay, you can see that it's telling me that there are 2 attempts to throw off similarity detection. We have hidden text and character replacement. When I look through this submission, it is giving us a flag in this specific paragraph. When I click on hidden text, it will now show us all of the hidden text that can be found in that document or in that content. All right, so there you go. We all know that a lot of papers do have this, do require a minimum of, let's say, around 800 words or 4,000 characters, like our word and character requirement. So instead of adding more information on the document or on their paper, the students will just write random words on their work and then change it to color white. Letters cannot be seen by the naked eye, but well, you can see that Turnitin can detect that. Okay, there you go. Now, yeah, it has been, or the student are actually doing this one even before. So, well, it may be very difficult to detect these hidden text before, but with Turnitin, you can just see that one in a matter of seconds. As you can see in here, we have quotation marks, letters in between words, numbers, characters, and even sentences. And sometimes we are finding paragraphs. Okay, and you may just think that, okay, yeah, definitely those words, characters, and those kind of things that you can find, like those hidden sentences or paragraph, are actually added up to the word count and character requirement that you may have in your assignment. Another question, why do we have quotation marks? Okay, why will a student create hidden quotation marks? Okay, if you can remember in the assignment setting earlier, teachers can actually exclude quotation marks and bibliography and even small sources. And actually, some students do know about it. What they know is that if by chance, for example, this specific assignment, I have this, okay, I have this hidden quotation mark, okay, and as the teacher, okay, they exclude quotes in the overall setting of the assignment. Definitely, this portion will not be included in the similarity report. So we call that excessive use of quotation marks. It is actually intended by some students so that they can pass over sections where assignments are set to exclude quotation mark. That's why I'm recommending you not to do any exclusion before you check the similarity report. Exclusion must be done after checking. Okay, So definitely, if I set up the exclusion of quotation mark in here, it won't be 67 anymore, but it would be lower than that. And that is the intention of our student, to have lower scores in their report. Well, you can see that this one is a clear intention of cheating, or I mean, a clear cheating intention. Okay, so that is also the answer of the question of Sir Domingo earlier about the standard setting of standard exclusion settings of the institution. Okay, that's for the hidden text. Okay, another thing is the replace characters. When I turn on a replace characters, it will now flag us to the letter E's and even to the hidden characters that can be found in this paragraph. You may then say that, okay, those are just the basic American alphabet letter E. Well, it's not. It says in the report in the right-hand side that we have 48 Cyrillic character and 1 common character. Cyrillic is basically a character similar to Greek. It's used in Russian alphabet. So yeah, you may say that these are the basic American alphabet E, but it's not. It's actually a Russian alphabet. And obviously that is not letter E. So well, student thinks that similarity cannot be detected since they replaced English characters to similar looking ones. So they just think that they will not match back since they are using a different one and not a letter E. Okay, well, this is a very clear cheating behavior. I've actually done this one in this specific assignment, the hidden characters and character replacement, and it's very tedious, it's time consuming, and obviously this is intentional. There is no way for our students to read, there's no way for us to believe that if our student will say that this one is accidentally done by them, okay, like they didn't know that it will affect the whole similarity report, because this one for sure is your student trying to circumvent the plagiarism checks. Okay, I want you to check this first because it will save you more time. Because you already know that there's no point in wasting your time in looking through at your students' work, looking through at the similarity matches or comparison or sources, because this one is an obvious misconduct already. And well, you might want to talk to your students straight away about it, or raise your concern about this to your academic heads or even to your Turnitin administrators. So that's for the hidden, or that's for the flags. And again, you can also find more information about it by clicking on the tab in the right-hand side. Okay, well, those are for the flags. And this time I will be talking about the similarity score. For me to do so, simply click on, or for us to do so, simply click on this 67, okay? And there you go. When you click on that number, it will open up a match overview. All right, so there you go. The match overview contains these 67%, which is an overall similarity percentage. And what does that mean? Okay, it indicates that 67% of the students' work is matching back against what we have in our databases. You may say that, okay, wow, 67% is very, very high. Does that mean that the student plagiarized? Okay, well, as for Turnitin, the similarity score is not a determination of any plagiarism. You may find like 20%, 67, or even 95% in here. Still, we think that it is not an exact definition, or that is definitely a concrete evidence that plagiarism is taking place on your student's work. The decision to deem any work plagiarized should only be made after a very, very careful examination, a very careful assessment of your student's work, the document that they have submitted, as well as the series of sources that can be found in our databases, okay? And not just by simply viewing the similarity score. It's really important for instructors to check the paper first, and then you can decide whether those matches that you are seeing are acceptable similarity matches and can be excluded from the similarity report. Okay. So, in the source match, it identifies all of those sources that are matching back in the paper, and also it highlights the words and sentences and paragraphs that are matching back, okay, to what we have in the databases. Again, what in the highlights in here, we are not showing any matches that have been plagiarized. What we are showing is a word for word matches to any text that can be found in our databases. Okay. Okay, I do have a question coming from Sir Domingo. Some students know how to cheat. Okay. Using hidden characters and character replacement. This is why the report in the paper title will have the that symbol, okay? Exclamation symbol. How do we handle that? What is the sanction to the student? Well, actually, sir, when it comes to sanction, I think it really depends on the academic integrity policy that you may have in the institution, because I'm pretty sure that this is being handled by our academic heads. So the sanction is really depending on the teacher as well as the institution guidelines. And Turnitin can really not or the Turnitin won't be able to handle that one, because every institution already have their different way or treatment when it comes to those kind of things or those kind of scenarios. Okay, maybe you can just simply reach out to your academic team heads, and as well as your Turnitin administrator for that matter. Okay, thank you. All right, so moving forward, um, the first one or the first paragraph is, well, copy pasted. Okay, I actually noted in here. So we can tell that this is copy pasted since color matching goes all throughout the whole paragraph. And you will notice that each match that you can find here has this corresponding number. We have number 2, 3, and so on. And those numbers are actually attributed in the match overview sources. So we have 1, 2, 3, and so on as well. So when you are checking your students' work, okay, simply click on that corresponding number and the source box will appear. The source box will show you the original text from that website. Sometimes, okay, if you are finding some website that are actually you're not very much familiar about, and somehow you are unsure if it's a real website or not, I'm recommending you to click on that link so that you can go straight to the website and check it if it's a legitimate website or not. And yes, it happens. Another thing is that if you don't like to do that somehow, okay, simply click on the book icon. And in here, when you click on the book icon, it will show you all of those matching texts side by side. And those matching texts are actually in red. Okay, and well, okay, you may think that, okay, why is that the full source texts are showing some words that are not in red? What does that mean? If you can remember that we have the current and archived internet web pages, and we are now matching back to Wikipedia in here. Wikipedia is actually a public website. A public website, like Wikipedia, okay, everybody can edit or update those content in a public website at any times. Okay, and this could mean that those content has been updated already or edited by somebody. Well, we are still matching back, and maybe because this has been the archived or the previous content of that Wikipedia. And you can surely investigate further or assess further by visiting the Wikipedia page, and you can see their edit version. Well, still, we can really identify that this is thoroughly copy pasted. So this could work if your student, maybe we have seen actually some students who are going to a public website and then removing a chunk of a paragraph from Wikipedia and pasting that under work. They are thinking that if they automatically remove that paragraph, they will not match back anymore since it's not in the website right now. Okay, still, Unfortunately for them, we will be able to find a match because we have scanned the website already. Okay, and there you go. Next to that is the text spinner paragraph. So, well, text spinner is a free website that will paraphrase a paragraph for anybody. And yes, students are actually doing this. These are some sort of paraphrasing tools that will make paraphrasing as easy as possible for them. Well, text spinners are generally not very smart, and words that they are using may not really make any sense at all. So what I actually did, what was I copied this paragraph, paste that on a text spinner I found in Google, and this is what I got. So as you can see, by checking your students' work, maybe you notice that there is really an odd looking content. Okay, and with that, you may just want to reach out to your student about this one. Maybe you will definitely find out if they are using text spinners or any paraphrasing websites or paraphrasing tool, or simply they are not just very good when it comes to paraphrasing, and we can do something to help them about it. Like you can surely assist them about it. Okay. Next, let me see. Okay, the next one is copy paste and keyword replace. That's the next paragraph. Well, we all know that students are actually doing this one. Okay, they will just copy and paste a chunk of a paragraph in a website and change some words. When you click on the number, that's number 4, and click on the book icon side by side, you can then easily identify that, okay, let me just quickly go there. Okay, you can identify the words that they were replaced, So the word common was replaced with usual. While was replaced with although, and then we have progressed and replaced with develop. Well, okay, you can really identify if your students are doing their best in finding right synonym, but you can also check if your students are doing the great job in with their vocabularies or not. So, well, still, this is copy paste and it's some sort of a flag when it comes to like academic integrity or the integrity of their work. Well, okay, another one. Okay, so we have the hidden characters in here, and well, this is a clear flag. This is a flag and a clear indication that cheating is taking place in your students' work. Okay, and then we have the mosaic plagiarism. As for the mosaic plagiarism, we do have here, it's actually called a mashup. So this is a mashup because each sentence that matched were highlighted in different colors. Like your students are using different websites. Okay, they are just getting some chunk of a paragraph or sentences from one website to another. So they will look like it's well written, but obviously it's not. Now, it's really up to you. Okay, like if you are assessing this one, you're checking all of those sources and the content that you are matching back. Okay, and you can easily identify if it's an acceptable source or an acceptable similarity matching or not. Okay, moving forward, another thing is Turnitin can actually detect quotes in 2 different ways. We have in between quotation marks and indentation. As for this, if you are checking your students' work and surely they copied a whole quote, we can expect colored matching all the ways through. But okay, and also okay, well, if they've done that and if your student followed your requirements, your instruction on how to go about it, you can do the exclusion of quotation marks right after. Only okay if you cannot find any hidden quotes in your students' work. Because once you have excluded the quotes, automatically, like even the hidden quotes will automatically be excluded from the overall similarity report. And then, okay, let me just turn off this. Okay, we have the paraphrase. Students will just go from one information and then write that information in their own words. And well, if your student did well in paraphrasing, we can really expect no highlighted matching at all. Same with original text. So, as for original text, we are expecting our student to somehow provide information using their own words, in their own thoughts, like their own opinion. Let's say assignments wherein they really have to create a narrative, or they have to create a story, some sort of, like say, short story, a poem, a reflection paper, or a review. If your students are, since for those kind of assignments, they are really expected to use their own thoughts and share their own opinion, and we can really expect no highlighted matching at all. However, still, it's possible to have some highlighted matching at some portions of your students' work, whether it's an original text or not. Okay, you have to consider those basic and commonly known facts. For example, Manila is the capital of the Philippines. Okay, I am a Filipino. Or I study in University of Makati. It's raining today. Those kind of information. Okay, those are basic and commonly known facts. And surely, a lot of students have written those information already, and it will show up as a match for sure in the similarity report. And for me, for us in Turnitin, I think that is still okay. Why? Because it's a commonly known fact. And let's say, for example, the word COVID-19. So it's a common vocabulary. It's a basic vocabulary. And surely a lot of students have written that, and not just even the student, but in publication or in other website as well. Well, if you found those kind of information, that is what we are talking about when I mentioned the acceptable similarity match. For those information, you can surely do the exclusion of those sources straight away from the similarity report. And that is something that I'll be showing shortly. Okay, as for the reference list, we can really expect a rainbow of colors in here. So I mean, like, since we're talking about different preferences, so it could be in different colors and in different numbers. However, if your entire, like all of these references are in just one color, this could only mean one thing. The student copied and pasted that from one website, let's say a public website, let's say Wikipedia. And for sure, you might want to talk to your students straight away about that one. Well, how about if I found a source that is completely highlighted? What does that mean? This could mean that the source is already in our databases, and if maybe you have your own requirements, format, or patterns about that specific, like maybe you want your student to follow in a certain format or a certain like some sort of a requirement when it comes to bibliography, you can just simply uh, exclude the bibliography straight away from the overall similarity report. And well, after exclusion, the similarity percentage will be recalculated, and surely your student will be able to get an up-to-date score afterwards. But okay, before any exclusion, you must also check if there are some bibliography information that are not completely highlighted, because this could mean that this could mean three things. First, okay, the student was not able to do the citation correctly, so it needs to be corrected, and maybe the student needs to provide more information on that, or maybe they have to fix, okay, the format that you would want to for them to do so. Second, the source is not yet in our database, and you can surely reach out to Turnitin team so that we can add that source or that content in our content databases, so you can have a similarity matching in the future. Well researched. As you can see, I've added two Unreal source. I have added Antonio Luna and Jose Rizal writing something about COVID-19. Well, you really don't have to look up if it's a real source or not, because it's obviously not a real one. Okay, these are not real ones. And for that, you may just want to go straight to your student, engage them in a conversation so you can really tell, or they can really identify if it's a real source or not. All right, so that is for the similarity report. And now let me just focus on the match overview. So in the match overview, as mentioned, it is showing you the sources where you are matching back in the paper. It is telling you if you're matching back to internet source, a submitted student paper, or a publication. If by chance you are matching back to a student paper, let me just quickly click on number 9. I am matching back here to a paper submitted to CSU San Marquez. Well, I really have to identify it could only mean that this paper has used this content in his or her own paper. And if you want to know that content of that submission, you can simply click on this institution name, because note that it's automatic that you will not have an access to a submitted paper to any other institution. So all you have to do is to click on that institution's name and then send a request to view the paper. Well, since it belongs to another institution's name, they can say yes or no to that. Well, if they say yes, okay, you can definitely get an information through email. Okay, here we go. Now, another thing to note, okay, upon checking your students' work, okay, and you notice the match overview. The match overview will always show you the top matches first. Okay, but sometimes the top match that will appear for you in here may not be where the information has come from. This happens when most of or some of our students are actually using public websites. Let's say the first paragraph. I actually copied this one from Wikipedia. However, let's say, for example, you have a discussion with your student and they're telling a different website and not Wikipedia. So let me just click on the number. Okay, as you can see here, Wikipedia, and then you have this conversation like, okay, your student is saying that I didn't use Wikipedia, I use wikimili.com. You can actually identify if your student is really telling something, is telling the truth, or you can investigate further by checking the match breakdown. To do that, click on this arrow next to the percentage, and the match breakdown will appear. And it will show you every time the paragraph or that content is being used or mentioned. Well, you can imagine that sometimes information from public sources may have been copied and pasted in other public websites and even copied or submitted to other institutions. So this paragraph in here has been used by wikipedia.org, okay, and even submitted to a university, okay. We can find it in Wikimili too, and the mobile version of Wikipedia, and a lot of students' paper as well. There you go. So meaning to say that this paragraph is existing to these sources too. Now, if by chance that you think some portions in here are not relevant, so this time I'm talking about how to refine the similarity score or even exclude small matches. So, well, let me just pick one small match. I have here www.pharmatutor.org. When I click on that, I am only matching back to this website, okay, in this content. The content is COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by. It's really the instructor's call if you think this is relevant or not. If you think this is like an acceptable similarity matching, because basically it's a commonly known fact and it's a small match only. So it's really up to you to decide. So for me, I will just simply click on exclude source. Okay, that is the tab that you can find in the lower right hand side. Click on that source and exclude. That way you are not part, okay, I mean like we won't be able to match back to pharmatutor.org. So let me just check that one out once again. And there you go. Okay, we can see pharmatutor in here. However, it will not affect the similarity score overall because we are only excluding 1% of that content. Okay. Well, the bigger the source that you are excluding, definitely it could surely affect the overall similarity matching. And it's really up to the instructor after checking. Another thing is the all sources view. That is the graph just below the similarity report. When you click that, as you can see in here, the all sources view will show you the number of times you are matching back to a student's paper. It says here that 30% of the content that I do have in here is matching back to coursehero.com. If by chance, maybe this is actually not a recommended one, but if by chance you are allowing your student to make use of a specific source, okay, and somehow, yeah, you allow them to do so, you can do the exclusion right in here as well. So let's say, for example, we have submitted to Edge Hill in here. It is actually now showing you all of the matches that we can find in this specific paper. And maybe, okay, let's say this is a scenario, you're allowing your student to use this paper submitted to Edge Hill University as a source, or maybe it's more of like a template or a collaboration, a proper collaboration. Simply click on exclude sources and click on that source and exclude. Okay. Another thing to note, yeah, we are not matching back to that paper anymore, but still it doesn't affect the similarity score. Okay, because we are still matching back to a lot of multiple sources on those specific words. Okay, there you go. Well, upon checking your student's work and you notice that all is good and, well, my student really did everything properly in here, no misconducts happening or no issues about the paper, I recommend you to click on the filters and settings. Okay, that is the funnel icon. You can then now exclude quotes if you think your student did well in here, and then the bibliography, and also exclude sources that are less than number of words that you have identified, and then the percentage. So let me pick the words and I will identify 10 words. If by chance Turnitin Feedback Studio will detect a source with only 10 matching text, like 10-word match, we will automatically exclude that from the similarity report and you're all good. So I just have excluded them and then click on apply changes. And from 67%, we are now down to 52%. So this will surely, obviously, okay, since it's recalculated and we just remove all of those relevant similarity matching, you have the accurate one, okay, the accurate score. However, okay, as mentioned earlier, let me see. We have hidden quotation in here and, well, it is also excluded from the overall similarity report. Okay, the quotation and then the references. All right, so that's how to refine the similarity score, and all of actually those excluded sources can be found in this icon, wherein if you would want to re-include them or restore everything, it's possible. Simply click on the box and restore or restore all. Another thing to find in the filters and exclusion as well is the multicolor highlighting. So if in case that you are not fan of the rainbow colors in here, uncheck the box and all the highlights will be in red. If you want to generate a new similarity report for this specific assignment, you can simply click on this new report tab to get an up-to-date similarity report. So there you go for the similarity report overall. Now, what I'm gonna do is to go straight to our feedback and grading tools. I know that we are over time, but let me just quickly discuss on how do we go about the feedback and grading tools that are available for us. So let me click on the layers and turn off similarity for the time being. Okay, and make this one bigger. First one is like the text icon. All you have to do is to click anywhere and select letter T. There we go. The text icon will allow you to leave the feedback on your student's work straight away. So I can say that this is a very good paper. It's like you are really writing on top of your student's work. And then click away and it will automatically be saved. You can even move it around if it's on top of a text on your student's paper. Delete if you think it's not necessary. Another thing is the bubble comments. So for the bubble comments, you can just select one portion of your student's work, okay? Or even I will just choose the title and then click on this bubble icon. The bubble comment allows you to leave longer comments, like the maximum of 2,000 words. So if you have to leave like an instruction or more information about your students' work, definitely you can do so. And it works in like in a specific portion in your student submission. So for now, I will just tell my student to change the title. You can change the color of your highlights depending on your preference, of course, and then you can format it the way you want to. Okay, and then delete if you think it's not relevant, or convert it to quick mark. Quick mark are actually very handy for our instructors. Okay, let me just simply click away as it will automatically be saved. Okay, and you're all good. Now, what are quick marks? If there are some comments or feedback that you always use in every submission or in every class that you are handling, quick marks are very handy. So to see quick marks, click on this box with a check mark. And you can see all the quick mark sets that we have by clicking on this drop-down arrow. Whatever you want to use in here, that's totally fine. And if by chance you are not familiar with some quick marks that we are providing, you don't have to worry because we are providing descriptions about it. Okay, there you go. So once you have selected a specific quick mark, okay, you can actually just drag and drop that quick mark in your student's work and even leave a comment about it. Well, I'm more comfortable in using quick marks by selecting a specific content. Okay, like what I'm doing right now. Click on the box icon and then select the quick mark that I would want to use in this assignment. So let me just use commonly used this time. And then, okay, select the word weak transition. So there you go. We can see the description of quick marks in here, and I can even add my own comment about it. So at least my student can understand better, okay, what this quick mark is all about. I can change the color of the highlight if I want to, and that's possible. Delete if I think it's irrelevant. Click away and it will automatically be saved. Now, if by chance you would want to manage your own set or create your own quick mark set, simply click on the cog icon and you will get more information about on how to set up your own account easily. Surely I will provide you a lot of information about this one as we in my follow-up email after the session today. Okay, and then another thing, okay, is the feedback summary. So let me click on this document with a pen. And when you click on that, you can surely leave your students voice comment or text comment. So for voice comment, simply click on the record icon and then record your voice feedback like up to 3 minutes long. And when you're done, it's basically like, it's a general comment and not just in a particular area. It's really up to the instructor. So next to that is to stop and then save your voice comment. Your student will be able to access this one when they access their own accounts. Delete if you think it's not relevant, and you can leave the text comment instead. The text comment is actually also added in the downloaded report. So you can your student can access this one too. Okay, next to that is the rubrics. So let me click on the rubric form. And well, the rubric that you can find in here are actually pretty easy and quick. When you identify the rubric, all you have to do is to drag it to the desired score. You can see here. And the description of those scores are actually in the bottom. And there you go. So if you have identified the grades of your student, simply click on apply grade and the grade will automatically populate up in here. Well, if you're not fond of this work, or I mean this type of rubric format, I recommend you to click on the expand icon so that you can see the table-like rubric, or simply click on the cog icon so that you can create your own rubric, replace the rubric that you would want to use, or even export or I mean upload the rubric that you are currently using in any of your assignments. Okay. Well, that is for the grading and feedback tools. And the next one is the ETS e-rater. So, well, all you have to do is to click on the ETS e-rater and it will automatically check your students' work for grammar, mechanics, style, usage, and spelling. Well, you can select or unselect those categories if you think that it's not relevant. So I'm just unchecking the style because ETS e-rater is not finding any, but it really depends up to the instructor. Once you have detected or once you spot a grammar error, okay, all you have to do is to click on that. Let me just, there you go. So I spot an e-rater comment, okay? And when you click on that, you can see the e-rater feedback in here. And I even added my own feedback so my student will be guided accordingly. Now, the handbook can be available for your student and also for you as well. So for a student and for instructor. So when we click on handbook, you can see a lot of information on how to use the grammar function correctly. So it also includes examples. This is obviously a learning tool because e-rater is not a fix and flick system. It will not provide your student a straightaway right answer or right spelling because we believe in formative learning. At least your student will be able to correct themselves when it comes to grammar errors or spelling errors. So at least they will not just rely to a lot of online tools that they can find these days. Well, e-rater can also provide you false flag, which is very, which happens a lot to, which happens to a lot of grammar checker. So it's really depend, okay, it's really up to the instructor whether like to determine which are those false flag. But like say, for example, if you notice that the e-rater is flagging you to a specific one, let's say preposition in here, and you think it's not really relevant and it's not really a flag or an error, simply dismiss that. Okay, and you're all good. Now, another thing. Okay, so we are done, okay, with all the components. So we have the grading. Next to that is the similarity and then the e-rater, and they are all up and running now. And the next thing is to download the report. So to download the report, click on this download icon, click on current view so that you can download the tools that you have just turned on. Okay, well, the downloaded report is automatically in PDF format. So it is actually very helpful if in case that you need to have a conversation to your student about his or her report, like you know, or you realize that there's really some concerning things that is happening in the work, or you want to escalate your concerns to your heads or to your academic, maybe you have an academic integrity investigator so that they can look further. As you can see in the download report, we have this pertinent information about your student's work. And then even the submission ID number is in here, word count, character count, and even the highlighted matching, similarity report information. And also, okay, we have this sources, the exclusion, the grades that you have provided to your student, general comments, quick mark, bubble comments, and ETS e-rater comment, including the rubrics. Okay. So there you go. Okay. Well, this one is really very helpful. So if you really wanted to talk to your students about their own work. The last portion is the information icon. So let me click on that. The information icon will show you the information ID, which is the submission ID, which is very important if in case that you need to reach out to our Turnitin administrator as well as our support team so that they can help you with the paper easily. Okay, they can find the paper easily and then they can help you quickly. So there you go. Okay, so while we are done with our walkthrough and the discussion about similarity report, let me know if you do have any question in the chat, in the Q&A panel. Well, while waiting for some questions, maybe some are still typing their questions out. Okay, so just to add up, similarity score actually highlights the problem areas in your students' work. Okay, you can really identify if there are some issues about your student skills, let's say paraphrasing, vocabulary, and like some sort of like discussion about even the subject about English proficiency. So if I may say that the report is not used to be a punitive tool, but this can be used as a tool for formative learning, not just for the student, but for us teachers as well. And it can also be an investigative tool in order to check whether your student is doing some misconduct or not. Note that we always provide informed data. And as an instructor, we are expected to analyze those information, which will guide our decision as we review and check our students' paper. Okay, so there you go. Still, I'm not seeing any questions. So let me just go straight to the help guides that we have. So I'll be sharing this link in my follow-up email together with the recording. And of course, if by chance that you have any questions as we go along, after this session, you may just simply reach out to your Turnitin administrator so that they can assist you with every concerns that you may be having with your account. And also, you can also get in touch with the Turnitin Professional Services, and that's our team. Okay, okay, let me check if I am missing some question. Okay. Well, I think we're all good. Okay, with some questions. And again, I hope that everybody, you find the session very beneficial for everyone. And thank you so much for your time and enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe. Okay. Okay, so thank you so much, Sir Carl as well. And also thank you so much, Sir Mark, okay, for this session. And well, okay, also Sir Florante de los Santos. Okay. I think
Thank
Sir
you.
Florante is
Thank
also.
you, everyone. And thank you, Miss Nina.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, ingat po. Salamat.
Salamat.